Welcome to KD Custom Woodworking.
It's sheeting day, the happiest day of my project. If you can see right here, a little gap here. We haven't tightened this in yet. I'm going to put a screw right there, going to hit my ledge. There we are. There's our styrofoam. This is they're going like R5.75. Let's say R6, 12, and maybe a little more with this stuff apparently. So, you know, you're about almost R20 right here. And then on the inside, so we'll pick up with our 2x6s. The only thing I regret is where we were, that I didn't have the styrofoam right to the top. Now, let's go take a look down here. It's like a woods here, eh? Okay, here's our styrofoam, like you can see right here with the concrete. We came up. I got this as a little bridge. I'm going to clean that up in a minute. You went here with the flashing. It's got the flashing here and the plywood. What I want to show here, I don't know if I show, there's a slight gap in here. And if it ever starts to sweat a bit, it'll sweat right down here. I left one little ridge here. I might lose a bit, and I've left another one over there. If by chance water builds up, I want it to escape because this stuff sweats a lot. And right now, they're doing an amazing job. I'm kind of turned into the general role now. I'm just down here watching these guys. They got the extra long screws, the lock screws, putting them in. And they're like 6 inches. They get a really nice bite. And we got 3/4 plywood. If you can see what we did, we used the tongue and groove plywood right across. None of those bullshit clips for plywood, and there's no gaps, and we taped our gaps. So the only drawback with the scaffolding, I'd love to have gone right around, but we couldn't, so we got to go right here. You can see the trees here and everything. It was too hard to get. So we're just concentrating here. All I can say is I'm so happy with my system. It's not my system, but I was agonizing over it. Now I got it flush down there. And when I decide my elevation, I'll cut the strapping and I'll run a chalk line and get a nice straight line. But there I'll have to use some Tapcons, a couple of Tapcons to get those in. And here they go. I mean, I'm going to say it out loud. At the beginning of this project, these guys were brutal. I had a hard time. I was standing over them. Where's this? Where's that? Now look at them, eh? They got their own tool belts. And they're really taking pride in it. And if you look on top there's not much of a gap there. It's going right into the attic. So the whole attic is protected. And I can't say more. And I'm like proud of these guys. That's it. So double layer styrofoam. The reason why I did the double layer so it can alternate, I didn't put the tape in. I don't care about a little air getting in. Okay, I'm going to say it again. I do not care about a little bit of air getting in. I think things have to breathe a little, you know. Even though the air might say, well, that's cold air coming in, hitting the hot air. Not really. By the time air gets in there, it's all going to be heated anyway. So that's kind of my take. What I'm more concerned about is a little moisture throughout the years building up in there. And, you know, there's no air to dry anything out. And that's one of the reasons why I chose the rock wool, because it breathes and it's going to slide right down. So, onward. We're going to get all this side done. The house is really taking shape.
We should see something come through. I'm missing? Alright, I gotta get a couple more.
Now you see what we did here with the plywood,
To your left.
where the roof trusses meet the wall right on top there. We got double layered. Now, what's different with this when we put the sheeting on after, yes, this is a lot harder work. We're using tongue and groove. Now he's locked in. You see on the wall, He's locked in on the wall. He's locked in on the roof trusses. What does that mean? If you do it on the ground, if you don't have it properly screwed or anything, if there's a hurricane, you could lose your roof. You've seen that before. I've seen people just take the whole roofs off when they're doing spray foam because there was hardly anything holding it. But in this case, nobody would be doing that unless you go around and take a saw to it. So we got somebody inside there because sometimes even though we're 69 center, sometimes you drift a little. So he's just making sure. And they're just working as a team. But now we're coming up. Now we're coming up to the old house here that's been abandoned. And they're going to have to make a decision whether they want, us to continue or they're going to tear it down. But it can't be left like this anymore. It's just turning so dangerous. And that's it.
Hop up in the rafters and screw in that corner.
So they're using a combination of screws. We got big 4-inch screws, and they got, like I said, nailers. They're threaded, and the nails are 2.5 inches with the threads 30-degree, paper collated, and they're also galvanized, so they don't have to worry about over the years or anything that's going to rust out. So they got Prince in there jumping around. Now he's coming up. Now he's going to sneak a screw up there. They're kind of at their height there. Almost need one more scaffolding, but I think we'll get the bench and we'll put a double one there.
Outside for sure. From outside. And you think about it, if you go from the inside, you're going to screw out.
I'm going to be honest with you. This took. We started a bit yesterday, so they work 5. So they're about 12 hours into it.
Be careful.
If I had done it before, this would have all been sheeted when we put the pieces up. But like I said, I way prefer this. It's 100 times better, and it really should be code, but it's not. And even putting those little bolts in there even strengthened the building. So there he goes. So now they're up there, and we're getting the side done. And if you take a look at that, beautiful. They got the strapping in. Believe it or not, Atlantic Canada, we have the hurricane coming, and it is so hot up here. We're dying today. There they go. Trying to put it screws in, but not crank it so tight that you compress the insulation too much.
I keep spinning here, Dad.
Keep what?
Spinning here. I went right, I went left.
What? How long is that screw?
This one.
Is that 6-inch?
Yeah.
I could give you, go on the top just for the fun of it.
Here?
Yeah. If it goes out a bit, it won't make a difference. See if it's hitting. If not, I'll give you a 7-inch. For whatever reason, there could be a little.
I was hitting. Can you give me the drill? I can countersink it?
Yeah, it won't make a difference.
Or not?
That's strange, eh? Are you okay on the right?
Yeah, everything else.
Okay, I'll get you a 7-inch, an inch longer, and see if it's. It might be a little pocket there with the styrofoam that pushed you out a little too much.
Well, we didn't feel like setting up the scaffolding just for the tie back, so this was the last step for this side. We're going to leave that side like that for the winter and see if there, the other house is going to have an extension to butt into ours. And you can see it's a little windy and it's a little tricky to get down, but hey, it works, and that's what counts. So there they are, taping it down. and then it's up on top, Prince stapling it. But he's on his stomach there, so if anybody thinks that he's bending over there, there's no way he's gonna fall.
As you can see, right up here, I'll try to get in close. So they got the tongue and groove, the joint right here. What's great about the tongue and groove, and a little bit of stuff in the way, did leave a little gap in there, is you're solid. Like, I mean, you are solid. You got 3/4. Your structure is sound. Like there's no wave whatsoever. Up on top, what's really important is that line. Now we got that sheet going right across. Now it's screwed here on the double lip, and it hits the rafters right there. All right. And why is that important? It's because if you ever had uplift and all these rafters here are just built on the ground, you put your plywood there, could lift. If it could rip the screws out. But what you have here, if I make sense, if I'm not explaining it properly, go in the comments and enlighten me. Is that you have now a solid surface, and you don't have screws like a zipper. Now you have a solid surface that's binding. So the strength becomes, like 10 times. And you can see we did it over here. And that's why I don't like adding the plywood. Like when you're doing your framing and putting the sheets up and then butting them in. Because now it's a different, I think it's a lot, especially in our area, they're bound to have a big hurricane sooner or later within 100 years. So this really makes a big difference. And especially when you get down here, that's just one sheet right up on the top there. So it's anchored right there. And you can see when you get up high, you lose a lot of strength, when you're getting up high like that. We'll probably put a couple extra supports in there, but that's it. This is the house. The only drawback with the contractor's windows is they give you this stupid little ledge, but this is their ledge compared to ours. Like the walls, going to be like 14 inches thick. So we got 2x6s. We have all our insulation on the outside, and we're going to do the windows next week. So I'm going to document that, and I'm going to document their roof. I put that in. I hope that's going to be cool. It's going to add a little privacy, but I don't want to block out the sun. If you see right here, I want the sun in the daytime, especially this time of the year, just keeping this house heated. So that's our, will I say poor man's passive house? Well, it is. It's, we didn't spend the huge money. And then what's great too, is still like the beam when I went right across, I went a little happy. Okay, so I'm going to try and end this video. I didn't show as much of the plywood being installed, the tongue and groove. My thoughts on the plywood, especially being in Canada, or if you're in any wind area, even if you're in like in Oklahoma, Texas, any of these places, is overlapping it. I'm surprised you're allowed to even put 3/8 particle board. I mean, wind's just going to rip it apart. And putting the plywood after, that's my thoughts. All right, I know, I want to open up a whole can of worms. The other big thing, what was brutal, was putting all the styrofoam on, and the last layer, the rock wool, because we didn't have, there are clips you can get with the thicker rock wool that come up that keep you honest. But I don't know, maybe my next one I'll have enough budget for that, but on this one, no way. I didn't have enough budget, and we had to just persevere. Why I picked it was two reasons. Sound. The guys are blown away. They'll have the radio here. the work on the side of the house. They don't even know the radio's on. They put their ear to it. It really will quiet the house down. That was one. The other big thing is flammability. This thing will not burn. It's rock, you know. And then to me, that was like a safety issue that was important to me, because I do have family members coming into this house. Anything I can do. This stuff's supposed to have like a 4-hour rating. Like, it burns, it'll melt, but you got 4 hours to get the hell out of the house. If there was that fire in Montreal, they encapsulated an old house, it was Airbnb. It killed 7 people. They didn't have egress windows, and they had rooms on the side, and people couldn't escape. So I got windows up there. If you're escaping, you know. So we do have a responsibility, like as a builder, to make it safe. What I also know, when you get 2 pieces of styrofoam or you get too much, a building can sweat when you have too much temperature in between. So I can't stop that. It would be like today. Today the humidity here is like off the ocean. We're probably at about 85%, 95%. You know, that's why I have this nice complexion. I got, you know, this is about the most sun I had in I don't know how long. But the big problem with that is everything will sweat in between, and you try to block it, and the water's just going to build up, or you know, enough water in between there long enough can go rancid. Like, if you ever been in a house, I've been in them, where they didn't properly breathe, and it smells like a tropical forest. You go in there, oh, that's the first thing you smell. The other thing that we did to keep it so it didn't breathe there, see this bead of caulking we use, comes off that easy. You know? It's not really to hold it. What we did there was allow space, so if we do have water buildup, it can escape. Plus it holds it down. The other thing what we didn't do, and you can see here how we did it, you know, because, you know, once it goes on the plywood, look out, I didn't want 500 nails holding that in. I mean, I got this screwed into it. I got the strap in. I mean, I got so much nails being held into it. Why do I want to put like nails? How much insulation am I going to have left? That was my pee. We put tie back around it. It was just my personal thing. Even though the rock wool was good, I didn't feel good about having the wood exposed. And that's about it. Kurt, anything to add? Like, you gave your labor here, and I mean, you've been working every weekend now since you came back from your mini vacation. I come pounding at your door, and Prince is here. He's been, oh man, such a blessing. I mean, I get him 3 days a week. I get you 2 days a week. So basically, you guys are my crew, and we're getting at the beginning of October. I don't want to be out here in November, but it looks like we'll be a little bit on the outside. We could probably put some plastic. So what's your thoughts on all this insulation? You spent over $5,000 on it. You didn't hold me back.
Not much thoughts. I mean, it looks good. It's a lot of work, but it's it feels warmer, like a couple degrees warmer in there now, and it's soundproof as hell. So that's going to be nice, because we're downtown here, so you got shows down the street, you've got people driving. When you're in there, you can't hear anything, so that's nice. And all the money we spent on the top floor, that sweet view is going to be nice.
I know that slowed us down, eh? I think we packed in about almost, even though we did the outside and cutting into, probably took us a good 2 or 3 weeks. You know, it always takes longer renovating, eh? All right, well, we're going to be next week to concrete. I'm going to take videos on the back here on finishing, but I'll only do it if people subscribe. I'm going to go right now. If I don't see 20 subscribers, I'm not doing the video there, because it's a lot of time and effort for us. And I want to feel you guys are getting a lot.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.